Right, I think we're all set. What is going on, everybody? Welcome into probably one of the more somber episodes of Underground Sports Philadelphia regarding our favorite teams. It's episode number 434. KB and Matt coming at you from Underground Studios. We have lots of just sadness to talk about revolving around the Phillies, the Sixers, and then we'll also recap Survivor Season 42 as that came to a close, after we recorded last week. So we'll dive into that as well at the end of the show. Before we get started, make sure you're following us on the socials at Underground PHI on Twitter and on Instagram. Follow Matt on Twitter at Matt Castorina. Follow me at KBIZZL311. Check out the website, undergroundsportsphiladelphia.com, for all of our written content. Subscribe to the podcast feed, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts, we are there. Leave those 5-star ratings and reviews. If you've already subscribed, unsubscribe and resubscribe because it helps the algorithm out and it makes it seem like there's new subscribers coming through. But it really helps out and helps more people find the show, including our friends over in Armenia, where we continue to be, near the top of the charts. So shout out to our Armenian listeners. And of course, subscribe to the Underground Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel. You get full video episodes of every single Underground Sports Philadelphia podcast on our YouTube channel pretty much every single day of the week. So go check that out. Just search Underground Sports Philadelphia on YouTube. Click the like button, hit the bell icon so you don't miss a single video. And of course, get the comment section flowing with your thoughts, your takes on everything going on with the state of Philadelphia sports. Big thank you to our sponsors who let us complain, bitch, and moan about our favorite sports teams. Main Auto LLC, Ducharme's Pro Foot, Security 21 Security Systems, Paul J. Gillespie Incorporated, Mark Ronchetti CPA LLC, and the Dental Wellness Center of Vineland. And of course, Tomahawk Shades, the best small batch eyewear in the game. Go to tomahawkshades.com, use promo code USP at checkout for 25% off your order. That's sunglasses, blue light glasses, everything in between. Tomahawkshades.com, promo code USP at checkout for 25% off your order. Kenwood Beer. I'm sure a lot of you guys are drinking a ton of Kenny's right now. Right there. Go to kenwoodbeer.com. Use the Kenny tracker to see who's got Kenwood Beer on tap in the Philadelphia area. You got to be 21 or older to do so. And, of course, please drink responsibly. What's going on, Matt?
I think we've established in canon on this show that nightmares are technically dreams.
They are. And today, another nightmare came true as Gene Segura is pretty much done for the season.
Yeah, because by the time he could return, it'd be Labor Day, and I don't know whether the Phillies will have much to play for in early September.
It is a 10 to 12 week injury for a fractured finger that requires surgery for Gene Segura, arguably team's third best player this season, if not better. Yeah, I don't know where it's June 1st and they're 12 and a half games out of first place. Like,
I mean, it doesn't help that they've played like 20 games against the Mets already. Kind of fucked up. But yeah, this is, you know what, we missed it just barely. When we were talking, like, we were coming in Memorial Day, we're like, I don't know, there's still kind of something here for this team. And within a week, it's like, actually,
no, there's not.
Not so sure that there is. There was at least some hope. The Memorial Day curse strikes again. This team just can't get out of its own way.
The 2015 Phillies lost 99 games and were 8.5 games out of first place on Memorial Day.
That's tough. I mean, it doesn't help that you have like one of the best records in baseball. That's what you're competing with, but still, it's not really an excuse. Because also this team is very expensive. It's not like this is a...
The Pirates have a better record than the Phillies right now.
That's tough. So yeah, I was doing some stat dives. Because I'm just like, what is it about this team? What is it that's so stupid? But then you like look at the stats. It's like the Phillies are like 11th in everything that you kind of want to be good at, and then they're like bottom 10 in everything you don't. It just sucks. This I found interesting. This is from TeamRankings.com, which is one of my favorites. I don't know how they define close games exactly, but this is Major League Baseball team win percentage in close games. Do you have any guess like what where the Phillies might be in win percentage in close games. I have to imagine close games is within like two runs. That would be my guess.
I'm going to assume not very good.
They are tied for third worst with the Red Sox. Only the Reds and Miami Marlins have a worse winning percentage in close games. The Phillies have a 348 winning percentage.
Jesus Christ. 348.
They're also, I found this out today when I was like looking through. They're way worse at home hitting wise too. Like their run differential compared to home and away is like should not be what it is. They score way more on the road for whatever reason.
That had to have been that Dodgers series.
It must have been.
They scored like 12 runs a game.
But that's stupid. So there you go. There's our Phillies.
Wow.
Yeah. Let me pull up the Phillies. Yeah. So they average 3.85 runs at home, 5.17 away from home. They're 11th in the league right now, averaging 4.48 runs in 2022.
So when I tell you, Matt, last week I said when they score 5 or more runs, at that point they were 13-5.
Yeah.
They're averaging less than 5 runs a game at home. Not winning. I don't have an answer. Like, this is the first time, like, since we've started this podcast where there's just simply been no answer.
Yeah.
For the disaster that is the Philadelphia Phillies. And I just don't know how you fix it, what you do to fix it. Like, I'm very firmly entrenched in Joe Girardi should be fired, simply as a means of what do you have to lose other than more games? But when guys aren't hitting and you can clearly see they're not hitting, and then you call up all these young guys and then they go, 0 for 3 in one game, and then it's like, oh, back to the bench. That's just poor roster management. And
why is Mickey Moniak back with the team if he's not going to get
Why
a
is
sniff?
Bryson Stott just riding the bench? Like, that's why this team can't develop talent. Because they bring up these young guys to the major league level, and then they just sit on the bench and never play. And when they do get the opportunity, they're coming in cold. And then, 1-0 for a day, and you're doomed. As Rhys Hoskins singles to let Bryson Stott score, and the Phillies now have a 1-0 lead that they'll probably blow in about 2 hours.
Hey, my fantasy team appreciates it. Does not appreciate the Gene Segura injury because my IL is not looking great. For anyone who cares, Freddie Peralta, who might also be, and I've been hanging on to DeSclafani. Probably got to make. Let me just say, if I'm the Dombrowski of my team, I also have some difficult decisions to make in the next few weeks.
I'm right there with you, brother.
I got some choices.
I got Chris Bryant.
Well, he's on my waiver wire, and I am thinking about picking him up. The problem is he's got that back injury, and we know how those are. And we know, fortunately, Chris Bryant is, in some ways, a little bit of an injury-prone guy. And but it's so tempting. You look at him, you're like, yeah, he got to pick up Chris Bryant, right? And that's like he doesn't play. So why would... It's tough. That's what we do to ourselves.
At least our boy is getting hot.
I was trying to find the Schwarber quote. He said something about at least we're not showing up
at 6 o'clock for a 7 o'clock game. What
the
fuck does that mean?
Brother, it's like you said that and it wasn't even June yet. That's an insane thing to say before we've even had like an official heat wave. The first tropical storm hasn't even brewed and you're already checked out. Like, that's crazy. That's the craziest thing I've heard. Brother, you're betting 185 and somehow still lead off. Like, Jesus Christ. You could have rolled McCutchen out with the torn Achilles and probably bats better than 185.
Yeah.
That's where we're at. It's a tough time.
There's... At least Nick Castellanos homered during another untimely manner on Memorial Day.
Yeah.
At least that part of nature's
It's
healing.
so strange because, like, you look through everything with the Phillies and you're trying to find what is it specific? Like, we know the bullpen is not great, but outside of that, like, what is it about this team that just sucks, that just can't get it right? And there's no answer. I look through literally every stat in this to be like, what is it about the Phillies? Like, is it just something on the margins that we're just like not paying enough attention? And everything is just like, some things aren't great, but for the most part, it's like, it's just like a team that can't win games. I don't know. And the crazy thing is too is that they've tried so many things. You can't say this team hasn't spent money. Now they spent it, I would say, in a dumb way at times, but they have spent money. It's not like they're just like wasting away. They went out and made big free agent signings. They've made big trades. They've re-signed the big guys. They've outside of like obviously that this team needs to develop talent better. That's the very obvious thing that this team doesn't not do well. But like I don't know, like part of me is like giving up on even like this team has no ambition because they clearly do have ambition. I just think they're kind of stupid. I don't know what it is. I don't know. It has to be incompetence at this point because my favorite quip ever, and this was from like 3-4 years ago, was that there were teams that were bad when the Phillies were good, like really bad, got good, even won a World Series, got bad again, and are now good again. Mm-hmm. In the same time that it's taken the Phillies to like figure out,
or have just been able to, like I know. You say what you want about the Houston Astros. They were in a rebuild period at about the same clip as the Phillies.
Right.
Got their core together, won a World Series, consistently World Series contenders. You know, they get rid of their manager, bring in Dusty Baker. They're still competing for World Series. They lose guys like George Springer, Correa leaves this year, and they're still good.
Yeah.
And that's just proof of player development. That's proof of talent scouting that we've talked about it for a while now since Brian Barber got
I would
here.
also say a Justin Verlander renaissance. So
Yeah.
definitely helping.
But like we're not going to see those types of talents developed for the next 4 to 5 years if we're lucky.
Right. And then where's Bryce Harper at? You know, like
Right.
that's what's frustrating about all this is you messed up in the past so badly. And yeah, I mean, the Astros that is a sign of a healthy organization. The Tampa Bay Rays, right?
Mm-hmm.
A healthy organization that no matter what, it's just like, yeah, we're going to have just good guys at every position. That's just how we're going to work. The Blue Jays now.
Yeah.
We're just getting literally just good players everywhere.
The Dodgers
Dodgers have always just thrown money at the problem, you know, like, and you know, listen, good for them.
And then when those
But
money guys go,
they've even now like turned the like they used to, it's kind of funny. We're almost where the Dodgers were in like the late 2000s, where it's like we're just hemorrhaging money on like big names and not developing around the margins. Like, and now the Dodgers are doing both of those things.
Yep.
It's kind of terrifying.
and got the guy from the Giants who, when the Giants were good, were doing the same exact thing.
Right. That's what I don't get is why. So we're willing to spend like $400,000 million on Kyle Schwarber, but we're not willing to spend like $3 million a year on like the scouting network or the GM or whoever president of baseball ops who's gonna like make sense out of this shit. And that's not to say like I'm not laying this at Dombrowski's feet. Like this is all his fault, but like you're also telling me you couldn't have found anyone other than Dave Dombrowski that was younger, smarter, has already had a track record of doing what in modern baseball works.
Mm-hmm.
Why are we not just like, why are we, the bigger organization, simply not eating the smaller one? Seriously though, why are we not just like throwing, if we're going to throw money at the players, why are you not throwing any money? Why is Matt Klentak still in the books?
While working in Milwaukee.
Like, why is he still getting paid by the Phillies and we're not trying anything else? That's the weird part too, is that this team is like refused to, from the outward perspective at least, refused to like actually build a better structure that's going to lead to long-term success. Because it's unlikely you'll ever get like the homegrown class like we had that brings us to 2008, but you're certainly not going to get the next Jimmy Rollins doing what the Phillies are doing now. And I don't think it's a coincidence that so many like young players that have started here that have ended up on other teams have flourished. I don't think that's a coincidence. And I don't think it's a coincidence that every young player here looks like garbage and doesn't have consistency for whatever reason. That so many of these guys come up and get like 10 at-bats and then that's it. I don't get it.
But hey, it's Top Gun night.
Thank God.
I find it very funny. You know, speaking of Top Gun real quick, that like obviously Miles Teller in the movie, like everybody is like vehemently like on his dick for this movie. And like this past fall we were like morally chastising him for shoving crystals up his asshole with Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, it's quick how people forget, huh? Well, when you got Scientology on your side, you know, it's the big press
it heals
machine.
all.
It does. So do the crystals, I heard. The Himalayan mud baths.
Also known as poop.
Well, they've both been immunized, so why don't you?
And the thing too, like the Phillies, like you look at some of the guys that they signed this offseason for this bullpen once again, and like somebody like Kenley Jansen was out there and he's pitching well for the Braves that you could have gotten on a 1-year deal, but you spent stupid money, pun intended, on bad players. And when you have Brett Myers on Twitter criticizing the philosophy of this team, where he said, quote, "What else is there to say? The Phillies suck. Very talented players that can't find a way to win is very disturbing. It's definitely not for lack of trying, but they need to find a way. The Philly way has left this organization. Please bring back the intensity."
What does that like? Not that he's wrong, but what does that even mean, though? You know, like what is the intent? Like that's that's what's so hard for me with the Phillies is I can't tell you what exactly it is about this team that is bad. But again, besides the bullpen, which is not great, and that's just been. I mean, you could plug that in anytime you talked about the Phillies for the last decade now, but I couldn't tell you what is wrong with this team.
No,
I can't. And it's tough too because like as a fan, you start to check out a little bit because it's like, all right,
what else can they do?
What else can they do? And also, like, why am I wasting my time? Why am I watching? By the way, the Phillies consistently have, like, the longest games in the league this year, too. Like, which is just
longest
obscene.
and worst.
Like, 3.5-hour games. It's like, I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this. Not sitting up till 10 o'clock watching a team that's not entertaining. And that's the thing, too, is they're not even, like, that fun and explosive. It's not like we're getting treated to, like...
We got one little dick tease on opening day.
Yeah.
And that was it.
It really hasn't been, like, the greatest show on turf, you know? Like
but you know...
It's been pretty underwhelming.
You know who's the psychopath that's bringing DJ to Citizens Bank Park for the first time on Friday night, Matt, to go watch the Angels probably pummel us?
Uh-oh.
This guy.
Are we getting an Ohtani weekend at any point?
I don't know if he's pitching.
I would love to
but
see
I would
him
assume
pitch.
He's going to DH. I don't know if they've announced the rotations yet for the Angels or not.
I see Friday's up, but may not.
Friday
know
to be
what,
determined for both teams.
Friday on here we got Eflin is pitching for us, and
Okay.
Silsith is pitching for them. Not a pitcher I'm totally familiar
No.
with, I'm being honest.
Be nice to see Ohtani pitch.
That would be like, and that's what's crazy about the Phillies now too is like you're showing
They're turning back
just,
into one of those teams.
You're just like, oh, the Angels are in town. Be cool,
Yep.
like, be cool to go see the Angels. I'd like to see Trout and Ohtani. That's fun.
And that's literally what they were the entirety of their quote-unquote rebuild. Was like, oh, this team's in town, let's go watch them.
Yeah.
There's no answers for it. And everybody, like, we know Girardi's not the entirety of the problem, but, like, when you have his wet napkin personality of, like, no, like, heart, no emotion in the dugout whatsoever when anything good or bad happens, and then literally just recycles Doc Rivers' quotes of, like, yeah, I'm not worried about my job.
Yeah, how did we end up with the two most, like, apathetic coaches? How did we
Like,
swing that?
Stone Age coaches.
He, like, is... Joe Girardi is, like, a beach town police chief giving a very uninspiring press conference. Like,
Yes.
that's it. He's, like, reading just straight from a script every time, and he looks like he just can't wait till he can go home, change out of his uniform, and sit on his private beach. That's what Joe Girardi looks like every time.
Shark made landfall.
It's the worst. He's, like, a chore to listen to.
I don't know who's worse, him or Doc Rivers.
Doc at least says, like, some outlandish stuff where you're like, I can't believe he just said that. And then you have to, like, like, Doc has more entertainment and, like, the shock value. It's like, I can't believe you really think that about yourself. Whereas Joe Girardi's just, like...
Doc has called media members out by name.
Right, which is, like, interesting at
Yeah.
least. He, like, sucks, but, like, there's at least intrigue. They're, like, both bad movies, right? Where it's, like, Doc is at least, like, Sharknado, where it's like, all right, well, at least they're going for something interesting. And I couldn't tell you what bad sci-fi original movie... He's like one of those ones from like the mid 2000s where like they made like the Iraq War into like horror movies, but it was like they'd enter a pyramid for whatever reason. This was on the Sci-Fi Channel. They would like go to a pyramid in Iraq, whatever, and like a griffin would attack them. That is Joe Girardi. It's like, this is the worst thing ever, but there's nothing else to do because it's July on a Saturday afternoon. So I guess I'll watch this. That's Joe Girardi to me. But I tell you, he's not getting fired this season. There's no shot. His contract's expiring.
No.
They're just gonna let him walk
because they're still paying.
You know
Kapler.
what sucks too? It's like I can already tell you what the spin is going to be. Like February of next year. It's like whoever the new manager is. There's going to be, of course, our one statement signing, and everyone's going to get reeled back in. Be like,
Who's it going to be?
Statement. I don't know who the free agents
Let's
are.
See. This would be 2022.
Aaron Judge.
Hey, you'd fit the culture. Can't play in Toronto.
Can't play in Toronto and can't play like 50 of the other games.
Oh, they'll just go sign Trevor Bauer.
Fuck off. Yeah, he'll be back in a year and a half.
Yeah.
Oh man, David Price is so
Ooh.
us. That is so us. we are so getting David Price or Chris Sale. It's stupid. We are so getting David Price. We are so getting one of those two. Xander Bogaerts would be like
Xander is very on brand too. Where
that
it's
would be like
he's a Dombrowski guy,
and you'd be like, "You fit your need. He's so good. He's such a good dude."
It's an overcorrection of
Yep.
Didi Gregorius.
Yep. There he is. Xander Bogaerts and David Price. Welcome to the Phillies.
Yeah, and then they'll like put a twist. Oh, we need a DH. Joey Gallo. Welcome to the Phillies.
Oh God, that'd be the worst.
Yeah, Xander screams.
Xander
Screams
Absolutely.
Phillies off.
Tell you what, I wish we had in addition to Bryce Harper, Manny Machado.
Yeah,
Boys having a hell of a fight here. Be nice. That'd be nice.
that or what would be hilarious? DeGrom.
I would love DeGrom, but the problem, dude,
He's not
can't
gonna stay healthy.
Like, yeah,
That's the sole purpose of why he's a perfect Phillies free agent
true.
target.
We would tell ourselves.
Oh, he's gonna be great. Look what happened to Wheeler. No, DeGrom won't pitch a single inning for us.
Clayton Kershaw.
They'll go sign Aroldis Chapman for like $90 million.
Aroldis Chapman definitely fits.
Definitely
the culture.
fits.
Definitely fits the culture.
He'll just roommate with number 37.
Yeah.
Kimbrel. That's another one that screams.
I think we got it right with Bogaerts and Price. Those are our two.
Both Dombrowski guys, too. They'll just throw a fucking shit ton of money at both of them.
Tough time, dude. Tough time to be us.
Hey, at least Xander's a Liverpool guy.
Yeah, that's the saving grace. That's the saving grace. I think that's his attempt, though, to like have the Red Sox re-sign him. He's like,
Yeah.
Hey, John, like big fan of your other ventures. Why don't you like keep me here, please? Pay me some money. Tell you what, they got it. Talk about re-signing guys. Talk about letting Mo Salah go for free. I will be joining all my Red Sox brethren in solidarity. Some shit like that happens because it's gonna be an issue. I'm talking bricks through windows.
What a weird circle of ownership fandom the Fenway Sports Group is.
Yeah, if you're going like the FSGs, like you've had a weird time in life.
You're a Red Sox, Liverpool, and now Pittsburgh Penguins fan.
Yeah. Kind of gross. I don't like being lumped in with the Penguins, especially. Don't really care. Like Red Sox fans are just kind of annoying.
Yeah.
We get it.
I feel like they're the least of the annoying Boston sports.
Oh, definitely. But
No.
it's just like, as far as baseball goes, I feel like they're very annoying because it's like, whoa, we didn't win for 852 years. It's like,
Yeah.
I never saw the Phillies win anything.
Right.
So I don't care. You won like 5 World Series since then. I'm not interested in your sob story.
Yeah.
And you also were not a Red Sox fan until like 2011. Just please spare me.
They're definitely the least of the annoying. But speaking of the Penguins real quick too, that I Am Athlete pod, apparently LaShawn McCoy is like part of them now. And they have like a radio show on Sirius, and they were interviewing Aaron Donald. And I know Aaron Donald's from Pittsburgh. I know Shady's from Pittsburgh. But seeing LaShawn McCoy sitting in this interview in a Penguins jersey and a Steelers hat did not sit right with me.
Was that the one where Aaron Donald was explaining how he watches film?
Yes.
And everyone's just kind of staring at him like mouth agape. They're like, what is this dude talking about?
Yeah.
Like, he is watching a different sport than me, clearly.
Yes. I've talked to Jamil about Aaron Donald a ton, and he's like, yeah, he's just a different breed.
Might be coming back, too.
Yeah. He just signed with Kanye.
He's on the Donda crew,
Sports.
him and Jaylen Brown. Yeah, shout out. We're going to talk about the Celtics being the finals, talking about how...
We just can't have fucking nice things. Them, the fucking Rangers.
The Rangers.
I need the Rangers, and listen, I love our golf guys. I know they're from New York, so at least it like makes sense. But one, they always try to come at the Flyers when they're recording and talking about the Rangers, right? When I'm editing the podcast, and I'm just sitting there like, you truly don't understand. We fucking hate the Flyers just as much as you do.
There's nothing you could say about the Flyers or really any Philly sport.
No.
I haven't already said. Like,
exactly. It's on the record.
The thing is like when you're as negative as like, listen, everyone slates us for booing our own teams and then thinks that they can like say things that'll hurt our feelings. Like, brother, like I have said worse to these people.
Yes.
I've said much worse to our own players than you will ever be able to say.
I think the only team we've never badmouthed because they haven't warranted it is the Union.
Right. Because they are the golden child.
Yes.
It's like the meme. I know this and I love you. Like, the Union have never done us wrong.
It's like the butterfly meme. Is this a success?
God almighty.
But I need the Rangers to lose like no other.
I would. Yeah. I don't know who. I've always had like a soft spot for the Avalanche, like growing up.
Yeah.
So I'd like to see that.
I know you were a big hockey fan growing up. You see, they're doing the E60 on the Avalanche Detroit Red Wings rivalry from back in the day.
Those were like, it's hard to describe how good the Red Wings were growing up. Like they were like an institution in of themselves. Yeah, those like Joe Sakic era. Those are some great teams.
Everything changed when they flipped conferences.
I don't know what it is about hockey now that I just haven't been able to fall in love with as much. But like as a kid, that was what I watched, was hockey. My absolute favorite. I don't know what it is about hockey now. I'm trying. I'm making an earn. Like outside of Flyers, I watch very little hockey. Mm-hmm. Whereas in the past, it was like I would wake up 2 hours early every day before school because I was a psycho. I would wake up at like 4 a.m. I would watch. The NHL Network would do like a highlight show of all the games. I'd watch that, and then I would watch SportsCenter, and then I would have breakfast and get ready for school. That was my life.
I think the disconnect with hockey was just that there was no true network coverage.
That's been the tough thing too.
Like now it's on ESPN at least, and like TNT, and they've been trying to recreate the TNT like pregame, postgame show.
Right.
You know, Wayne Gretzky being on there, I think is huge, and then you bring in Paul Bissonnette, who's just he's a Charles Barkley type.
Yeah, it was on like TSN growing up, and that was like kind of weird network too. Like it's not really. And then like NBC got it. NBC games are always good. Always a good like crew, like commentators and all that. Like NBC is my personal favorite. I think like anytime any sport is on NBC, I'm watching that. I don't know what it is about NBC. Not like standing them.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna encourage you to get Peacock Premium or whatever, but like there is something about NBC broadcasts, even as like a kid, that I always felt like, first of all, looked way better than other broadcasts. Like I remember like Sunday Night Football. Mm-hmm. Oh, for whatever reason, again, I don't know if it's just because I was up late watching football, but the like picture always looked clear. I just feel like everything about it was always my favorite, and even now, if there's a sport on NBC, I'm like, this is just better.
Sunday night broadcast can be a little bit better this year too.
Yeah.
Tirico,
right,
taking over for Al Michaels.
But like, like ESPN was always fine, but like Fox, not as big of a fan.
Yeah.
CBS, not as big of a fan.
ESPN, I think, will be better this year now that it's Buck and Aikman.
Yeah, I'm interested in that. But yeah, so I guess we're really anyone but the Rangers. Honestly, I was a little bummed that the Hurricanes didn't make it because we're like that. That's another sport where there's teams. In the time that it has taken the Flyers, there have been teams that have been good One tangible trophy's been bad again, and now we're good again. It's like, there we are. We sold it all. We sold our souls. For what? I don't know. For a Super Bowl and a World Series. I think we could have negotiated a little better.
A little better.
Because it should have called Lundy Law. Like, could have had a dog at the table. You know, that's what you need. You don't need a nice guy lawyer. You need a dickhead.
For sure. And, you know, the fucking Celtics being in the finals now.
Kills me. What is it about the Sixers, too, like, letting these good coaches just, like, walk out the door? Like, why are we so good at developing coaches, and then we're just like, all right.
Is it 3 of them now?
See ya.
Tudoka, Monty Williams.
It's unreal.
Quinn Snyder might be on the market, though.
We'll see.
Hide your girlfriends.
I mean, definitely, because he looks like he might kidnap them for ransom.
You know the story about when he was coaching in college, right?
Uh-oh.
He was banging the players' girlfriends.
Christ. God damn it, Quinn. He does sound like a comic book person, though.
He looks like
Quinn
a Scooby-Doo
Snyder.
villain.
Yeah, definitely.
Like when you take the mask of those glasses.
He's a little terrifying, but I guess we got to be Warriors fans too. Which is fine.
Yeah,
it's fine. I'd be fine watching the Warriors win another ring. Although
just solidify Iguodala's.
The only thing that would annoy me about that is we're already getting it. Is then we're having like the Steph versus LeBron debate, and that's exhausting to me.
Yes,
I can't.
I've seen even worse so far, where it's like, if the refs didn't screw the Warriors in 2016, and KD doesn't get hurt, we're potentially talking about Steph going for his 6th ring.
Yeah, if LeBron, I don't know, had a more functional franchise when he first started in Cleveland, could have won like 9 rings. So I don't know. You can make up anything. That's just the way the world works. Is that things go wrong. Also, the Warriors win in 2016. I don't know that Durant goes there. Like you don't know that that's like how hard pressed are the Warriors. They would certainly have that conversation, but I don't know. I think it might be different if they win that year. I don't know that he ends up there necessarily. Might be in Boston. So
yeah,
can't forget that. But yeah, man. I mean, this might be bad for us.
It's
tough. Really bad for us. This could be like one of the worst last like 5-6 year stretches in terms of like Philly sports rivals winning titles.
It's bad.
We get the Braves, Nats, potentially the Mets. Imagine the Mets and the Celtics in the same year. I can't believe I just I'm really upset that I just vocalized that, but I think speaking it allows us to deal with the very present danger of it. You know, like you can't just let it build up in your mind because then it becomes much worse.
Do we classify the Raptors as a rival?
They're like a divisional rival, but
I think it just hurts more because they beat us on the way.
I don't feel like I feel more upset simply because of the shot. Yeah. I don't feel it because like I've hated Toronto fans my life or something.
Until this year.
Until this year. But yeah, like at the moment I was like I didn't feel like they're never gonna let us live this.
Yeah.
I knew like the NBA community as a whole would not let us live that down because it's one of the greatest shots ever, and then leads to like a championship. So of course it's never going to be forgotten. But I wasn't like if that had happened against the Celtics, I'd probably never watch a game of basketball. Like that's what it would have been for me. But let's hope Steph Curry got us.
At least we have one thing to look forward to, basketball wise. Brought to you by the homies over at Pickup, because I'm sure there's going to be props about this all draft season long. You guys can go to playpickup.com, start playing the hottest headlines in sports, rack up points on your fan profiles, cash them in for prizes. Playpickup.com. Officially, the Nets have deferred to take the Sixers 2023 first round pick. So we have a pick this year at least.
Do have a pick, which means I got homework to do. Thanks, Brooklyn. Now I really got to redraft evaluations. So I didn't double check this, but I think that's technically worse for us because that means we can't trade consecutive picks. So that makes our potential trade decisions a little more narrow, I believe. I think it's a
we owe Oklahoma City 2025, and it's top 6 protected, and then we owe Brooklyn 2027, and that's top 8 protected.
Right. So I think there's like a step and roll there where it makes it not impossible, but like a challenge now.
Yeah.
For us to really like make a lot of bigger swings. So, gonna have to see what happens with this pick. No idea, because it's hard to even imagine what the Sixers are, what direction they're heading here, because they're very much obviously in win now mode. So you would imagine potentially a player and a pick to get someone.
Mm-hmm.
But who knows what that looks like. You got some big decisions to make this summer if you're the Sixers. And we'll see. This is make or break summer. And we've said that about every summer for the Sixers. But it's also because every summer they come back with a new roster. So yep. let's see what happens this July, right? But this is, I mean, truly, this is the make or break summer for the Sixers. Yeah. If there's not like something tangible coming out of here, it's never gonna happen.
No,
because the East is not getting any easier, and what's gonna be different about the East next year? The Heat will be a year older, and like that's it. The Bucks are just gonna be just as good. Celtics are gonna be just as good, if not better.
KD and Kyrie will be on different teams.
Could. KD could be here, closer to the Union.
Never forget the Joel Embiid tweet.
Never
Time
forget
to
it.
recruit KD to the Sixers.
I'll never forget the Joel Embiid tweet of him wanting to go to Miami. So that was, I think, classic troll right there. I hope, right?
If you're Howard Eskin, you think it's gospel.
If you're Howard Eskin, you think that the moon is actually a cookie still. So,
or made of cheese.
Buffoon.
I still can't believe the Celtics are in the finals.
I can, because that's just how it's going for us. That's just how the world's working for us. I can totally believe it. I can totally believe that has happened.
How, on a scale of 1 to 10, how cringe did you find the Jason
Kobe
Tatum
Bryant text?
Yeah,
an 11. That's just the weirdest thing.
It was a 24 to me.
I'm sorry. That's the weirdest thing I've ever heard in my life. It's so listen, I get it. Like a friend and a mentor to you. Like you have a special connection. He had inspiring things to say to you. Totally understand that there's still I get it. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's just the weirdest thing that you could have done and then publicly announce. Be like, yeah, I texted Kobe's number.
One, it's weird that you did it, but then to go and say to somebody, "Hey, look what I did." Post this.
So weird. But you know who eats that stuff up? It's
NBA Twitter.
NBA Twitter and those dudes who think they're real estate agents. Where it's this is so inspiring, bro.
Yeah.
Dude, you're such an elite ball player, bro. Landlords actually aren't bad, and here's why. Those types of people. It's dudes that have $10,000 in savings and think they're moguls now.
It's the guys that are up at 3:30 a.m. in Worldwide Wobs, Radio Roulette live stream.
These same dudes next week it'll be someone stole my ape and I have nothing now.
Seth Green?
Jeez, I mean, Christ alive.
Maury invested in that, right?
Not surprised. Good for him. Maybe that makes Daryl a little more a little more inclined to be active, because it's hey bro, you actually can't lose out on this income now. It's not a fact of whatever, I got some money tied up. I was no, you literally are broke outside of whatever the Sixers are paying you because you're investing in monkey pictures. So why don't you go ahead and rack up something nice for us this summer, Daryl?
Somebody tweeted
because you bought a NFT of a Mountain Dew bottle.
Someone tweeted the clip that was supposed to be the trailer. Whoever stole that picture of said ape from Seth Green did us all a favor.
Yeah, I think that's
because my God, my eyeballs were bleeding like I was fucking 11 in Stranger Things after watching that. Because
spoilers, bro. Watch out.
Well, season 2,
Oh, okay, fair enough.
It was real life humans and then cartoon NFT characters in the same. I was doesn't this go against everything that you're all trying to claim that NFTs are.
No, well, see, Kyle, what you don't understand
It's the blockchain, guys.
It's supposed to... Okay, well, it's supposed to be for the common man against the elites, but it's actually... We're going to celebrate every time one of the elites says that they're buying it, because that means that it's good and that it's in... Well, okay, so it's... How do I explain? So it's like on the fringes of society, and it's not backed by money. Like, fiat money doesn't back by anything either. So, like, really, no money means anything. It's just whatever you value by. But it's also, like, really cool when, like, I don't know, like, Merrill Lynch says that they're investing in cryptocurrency. It's like, oh, now it's legit. But we don't want that either, though, because it's, like, totally for the people. Even though 99% of all cryptocurrency is owned by giant whales who are just investment companies looking to dump it. Like, forget all that, though. Like, outside of that. I had someone at work try and convince me to buy cryptocurrency. I was like, isn't it like tanking the worst it ever has? He's like, yeah, it's the right time to buy. I was like, you know what? If I wanted to waste $100, I could go catch the Phillies tomorrow. Like, I could. Fanatics still has a Ben Simmons jersey.
I could buy 4 of them.
No, they still sell like the 121s. They still have them listed.
Michael Rubin, what are we doing?
He's making bread. That's what he's doing. You kidding me?
Good grief.
He's figured it out.
Man.
Someone will drunk click and order it.
Oh, 100%.
We'll get through this.
Will we?
We don't have a choice.
That's true.
The way like the human spirit works is that we're just going to keep going until we can't. So
at least we have the union, though.
We do have the union.
We have the union.
We have the union. The one Philly sports team. It's strange because in some ways they have broken our hearts because we've been so close.
Mm-hmm.
But every year it gets a little bit better with them.
Yeah, it's not like that, like, defeated broken heart.
Right. It's like, we're so close to that breakthrough.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, it's like a new relationship, right? Where it's like, wow, this is, like, kind of what I've been looking for. It's like, I'm going to see where this goes. It's like, so many other Philly sports teams, we have these, like, scars and baggage. There's none of that with the Union.
Yeah.
You just hop in now, and you're good. You're watching a good team with good players and a great coach win games. There you go. There's your
goalies.
There's your pitch. You don't have to do this. You don't have to watch Kyle Schwarber go 0 for 5. You don't have to do it. There's another Philly sports team that plays in the summer.
It's the blue-collar team down there, man. The Union don't even play in Philadelphia. They play in Chester.
That's such a good accent.
There's scumbags down there in Chester and got nothing on Delco.
That's really good.
I thought about incorporating that as a bit.
Hard to argue. Hard to argue with that.
Now, last week you said the Union were out of the league running?
So they're out of the U.S. Open Cup.
Okay.
So there's like a similar to what the NBA is trying to institute, where this is pretty common in soccer. Mm-hmm. There's almost always some sort of league cup competition, and in some leagues they have like you have relegation, so it gives like a team that's in the third division a potential chance to play like the top division team, and that's huge for them, right? Because you're playing against a massive team and you get good like ticket revenue and stuff. Mm-hmm. U.S. Open Cup is similar. And they got bounced out of that by Orlando City, which is not great, but still, obviously, they have the whole regular season, and then we'll get to the
second place now.
Yeah, I think
like 1 point behind.
Fucking what is it with Philly sports teams and these goddamn New York City teams?
I'm like just fully like entrenching myself in the Union over the past couple of years, and I fucking hate New York City.
Yeah, well, everyone does. That's a good thing. Even their own owners hate them because they refuse to get them a stadium. And then I don't know if you saw this. They bought them a championship banner.
That was the size of a placemat.
Literally, I think this table is bigger. And it's hanging in Yankee Stadium because the Yankees were like, "You're not hanging that. Like, you're not hanging that." I don't know how to tell you this, but you can like wave that. You can wave that at your little soccer game or whatever. But you are not putting that anywhere.
You are not defaming the house that George bought.
After Sundays, that thing is not seen. I don't care where you put it. We're not paying for it either. How much was it? $72? Absolutely not. That's the price of a beer and a pretzel here. You're asking us to hemorrhage money?
Are you kidding? That's how much the seat in Aaron Judge's fan section cost.
Yeah. Yeah, so Union are nice.
Because they're kind of on a break right now too, right?
Yeah,
MLS?
it's so there's an international break right now. The U.S. men's team actually just kicked off like a few minutes ago, playing Morocco. Brendan Aronson gets to start tonight. You love to see it. Union alumni. So yeah, they're on an international break right now because there's some World Cup qualifiers that got to get done. And then it'll be back to. I'm telling you, dude, it's nice. You got a fun sports team that's not going to break your heart like the Phillies are to watch in the summer.
Good uniforms too.
Good uniforms, good gear, good day out.
That photo shoot they did with the underwater stuff, I don't know if you saw that.
Yes.
That was sick.
Good team, dude. MLS, you know what? Tell you, I've tried to get more and more into it over the years. It helps that the Union are good, like and are watchable and like an interesting team to watch. But they got good stuff going on. You
think there'll ever be relegation in MLS?
I don't know. I actually don't think there will because it's funny because European leagues now are like being heavily invested with American owners, and American owners are trying to find ways that they can. Because the problem is with relegation, right, is that you lose the TV rights money, when you go down to the lower league. And some of these lower leagues still have good TV deals. You still get good money and, attendance and all that. But there are two like barriers for American owners that are so different to how American sports work. One is the idea of being relegated, where it's like, what do you mean I don't get an automatic check every year for the revenue of the league? That's insane. And two is you often don't own the stadium either. So you can't rent it out for concerts, for other sports events, for whatever. That's not an option to you. Like typically the city owns it or a lot of times there's even like supporter groups that still own the stadium or at least the rights and have decision. There's a lot more like also too like they're a lot more urban. So a lot of times too there's even like city councils won't allow events in the off season to give like the local population, the people that live around the stadium, like a chance to not have crowded public transport, crowded streets, a lot of noise and all that, because they only get 3-4 months of peace a year. So it's interesting. I would be honestly kind of surprised if there is, because I think it's so antithetical to what American owners want. They don't want competition. Like they want it closed off and to just be able to get money on money on money. The problem is that they're renegotiating for a new TV deal now, and it's like kind of stalling out. And like Apple TV just dropped out. So we'll see where it ends up. I hope not ESPN again, just because like I shouldn't say that. ESPN's good because you have ESPN Plus, you can watch every game. That's cool, but it just sucks. I'm not a huge fan of like ESPN. I don't really care for like their coverage all that much. I think they could improve in a lot of ways. I don't know that there's like a perfect landing spot for them, but that price on that revenue is important to the league because that's how you grow.
Right.
I think the MLS has to figure out how to, because soccer's huge now. Like it just is. Like soccer is every bit, if not more popular, I would say, than like hockey.
Yeah.
It's probably closing in on baseball. I don't know that it'll never touch NFL, and nothing ever will. NFL is like just a monolith, and what the NFL is going for them too is they have fantasy football attached to that, which is like, bam, younger generation loves fantasy football. Now you have sports betting, which is like tailor-made for football. That's never going away. But basketball is going to be really like, I would be shocked like probably like in like 50 years if they're close to the NBA. But you could tell me that soccer just, the problem is soccer is like so fragmented, where you have like some people are fans of like European teams or Mexican teams or just like international teams. Like you have, even within people who love soccer, it's like, well, do you like MLS? Do you like the U.S. men's national team? Do you like the U.S. women's national team? Do you like a European team? Like, like saying you just watch soccer is like, well, what do you watch? Right. That's the first question you get.
You've opened one file folder,
right? There
on
are
your
10 now that you could fit into, and some people dip across all. But the future of MLS is fascinating to me because I don't know where it goes from here exactly. Because there certainly is the interest in the sport. You kind of have to get people interested in your league. And there's been some discussion too, like they have kind of a weird like salary contract structure where you have designated players, you have TAM and GAM and all these like, and it's like, we probably don't need that anymore. You could probably move past, because the designated player, you get a certain number of them, you can pay them however. much you want. But then you have a salary cap outside of that. You have like, and maybe I'm shortening, maybe I'm wrong on this. Someone can yell at me if they want.
Sort of similar to like, almost like the Supermax in the NBA.
Yeah, it's kind of like a hybrid of like the cap situation to like where in European soccer you can just have however much you want to pay people, however high you want your bill to go. That's it. You can just pay it, and there's no luxury tax or anything like that. It's just you have to pay a lot of money then. Where you get to do that with like a few players, you get to pay them as much, and then you're restricted on like cap held positions. So I'm curious where the MLS heads from here, but every year it's getting more and more popular, and you're able to expand teams. Like a lot of the expansion teams, great support, like great following, like people care about the sport, and do a lot to make it interesting and fun.
Yeah, I mean, I think the way that it's looking right now, like I saw Devin Gainey, shout out, happy birthday to Devin. She quote tweeted a tweet today, and it was like, how would you rank the 4 major Philadelphia sports in terms of like where they sit right now? She said it was Eagles, Union, Sixers, Phillies, Flyers don't even get a spot, but it's kind of where it's at right now,
right?
Where it's like the Eagles haven't played this season yet, so obviously there's still like that like mystique and like hype around them from everything they've done this offseason, but then in season right now it's like the Union, and then everybody else is way beneath them.
Right. Yeah, the Union are a team that is like, again, consistently over the last few years now has been at the very top of the conference, won the Supporter Shield, hasn't been able to make that final. They would have last year if it wasn't for that terrible COVID breakout right before the conference final. So stupid. Just the worst thing that could have happened. Probably make the cup final without that. Almost did in spite of that. But I mean, they're like a perennial contender now. And the way they do it is, I think, how like people describe their like ideal like local team, right, is how the Union do it. It's a lot of like homegrown guys. They make like just smart signings. They make good decisions. They buy players that like they have a very like real system that they work within. They have a certain type of play. It's not the most beautiful way to play. I'll say that. It's not the most pleasing. Like you're not gonna be like, wow, that was amazing. They're definitely more like defensive minded team, which is fine. People can get their joy out of that, but they're a good team. And they're well run. They're smartly run too. Like they do a lot of really, really good stuff that I wish other Philly teams would like peek over the desk and look at, because you could
take a trip to Chester, guys.
I mean, seriously, I think they could really learn something if they like just had a conversation with people within the Union and said, like, all right, so how do you do this?
Yeah.
Teach us how to develop people and promote the right people from within and make smart decisions.
This is such a long-term question, but obviously the Union only have one player with a retired jersey, with Sebastian Letou.
Right.
Do you think anybody else like of this era gets that honor?
Bedoya could. Blake, it's hard to see. I don't know. Someone with like more deeply invested in the Union might be able to speak to that better.
Yeah.
I think Bedoya might. He hasn't spent like his
entire
like formative years here, right? But like has become very much like especially if he like, I mean, he was obviously here when we win our first actual trophy, but if we win like the cup, right? I think Bedoya has a good shot. Such a likable guy too. Like if you just like wrote down sports captain, like the adjectives to describe sports captain, like Bedoya fits all of them. And he's had like a crazy career as well. So he might be on there. It's tough because the Union's model is almost works against having like someone for 10 years. Like it's just like, and that's rare anyway in most sports, but soccer as well. Like the Union kind of strike me as a team that are happy to let their best players go, knowing that they have something better, or they have, all right, well, listen, we're not paying him that money. You can go on. We did it with Shabilko. Like we've looked at these cities. We did it with Montero. We're like, listen, fine. Because they have, when you have like it's like the Tampa Bay Rays.
Yeah.
Like they are honestly like, they are very similar in that, like, fine, walk. We literally like, we will go clone 3 Arizonas right now. Like
Aronson's got a brother. So.
like there's literally a Paxton right behind him. Like we'll figure it out.
This is V2.
Yeah, I mean they do though. Like they figure it out, and that's the best you can say about them.
Man, if only every team was like that.
Yeah, well,
one day
one day we'll have a city full of unions.
Survivor 42 has wrapped.
Wow.
Crazy to conceptualize that, but Marianne, your sole survivor.
You know what? In the last few weeks, it started to feel like she had a much better chance than I was giving her. She was in my bottom 3 a lot. Apparently that was part of her plan. I think she had one of the best final tribals I've ever seen. It felt like she had the questions that she was going to be asked all 26 days and just like thought through all the way, perfect responses. And not even just like in what she said, the way she like carried herself she was clearly confident in her game. She understood exactly what to say, how to package it, how to package her game. She had the big moves. I thought when she pulled the idol out, she's like, I was like, it's over. As soon as she put that, I was like, that's done.
Vince Carter, insert ear.
And it wasn't helped by Mike. And there's like a trend, I think, sometimes to like older dudes. It reminded me of Coach in one of, I think the season that Sophie won, where I think it was pretty much an identical situation where the jury wanted them to just own up to the fact that they lied throughout the game, and that's fine, and that they had used, like their social skills and they'd used whatever to just get ahead in the game, and they like never committed to that. It's like, well, all right then, like you're not gonna win.
Shit.
Again, not that Mike should have won over Marion or whatever, but it's like you
had it there.
You probably had a much better shot if you had just owned up your game to being like, yeah, I'm good at talking to people. I use that to get myself for, like, it's a game. Mm-hmm. Nothing wrong with that. Now, maybe we saw, I don't know, always the caveat of we don't know what we don't see in the final tribal and all that, but from what we did see, Marianne just killed it. It's another season where there's a female winner that I don't think up until the last like 3 or 4 episodes, and maybe that's a bias that I have, I don't know, but I didn't feel Erica was like a strong contender until the last few episodes. We're like, holy shit, Erica might win.
And I don't know if that's a product too of the shorter season.
Also, I just feel like Marianne was in this season a lot.
Yeah.
Like way more than Erica was. And it just felt like Marianne was set up because she was just such a like good personality. Like she was like she had an interesting story. She was always like overwhelmingly positive. And she seemed like she just was like good TV, and it felt like she was getting like like we love Marianne, like she's on the next fans versus favorites.
Roller coaster of emotions,
right?
Every episode was just like,
but it felt like she was just standing up as like a fan favorite now. Yeah. Like here she is. Like
remember
is, like,
back to like the first episode, like day 2 when Jackson had to leave, and she's like like somebody just like killed her dog
immediately. But she killed it, man. I mean, that's all. Like she played the game super well, and she, again, when you can give that good of account of yourself at the end, that helps too. And I thought, like I said, just one of the most impressive final tribals I can remember. I'd love to go like deeper on that and see like who really had the best final tribal. But I do feel like the jury was being honest when they said that it was probably up in the air. So I felt like either Mike or Marianne going into the
100%.
going into the final episodes, I feel like, both of them I knew had the idols. So it's like they're both going to be in Final Four. One of them is making the Final 3. Like what are the odds, right? But like one of them, and I just felt like, okay, like they've both played good games. The only person besides Romeo, the only person I felt like was flawed, and that like I was concerned about going to the Final 3 is maybe Jonathan, because I think like there might have been the perception that maybe he didn't have the best like strategy.
Yeah.
But depends on what he has to say for himself. But Marianne just hit it out of the park, and Mike did not live up to the billing. I don't think he got flayed.
No.
But he did not give them what they were looking for, and they gave him like right off the bat the question. Like Tori gave him the question. Like, tell us why you win. Tell me why to vote for you, and I might. And he just couldn't handle that.
Marianne introduced Mike and his now wife for the first time as husband and wife, which I thought was pretty cool. This season too, like, just felt like, and I think last season as well, like the most opportunity for repeat players.
Absolutely. Again, I don't think it's a coincidence either that we've had two very strong casts right after the decision to make a more diverse cast. Like, you have this new initiative. I don't think that's a coincidence. I don't think it's a coincidence either that you get two women of color in back-to-back seasons.
Canadian
women of color. Sorry. I don't think that's a coincidence either. That's, and that's the way Survivor should be. Like, it should be a nice cross section of, like, if you walk down a street, look, like, who are the people that you're seeing? Those are the people that should be on Survivor. You know what I mean? Like, it shouldn't all just be like white lawyers. Like,
did you see Drea won the Sia Fan Favorite Award?
So I didn't catch the reunion, but that's awesome.
I don't know if they did it on the reunion or not. Because I watched that all the way through. I don't think they showed that, but they posted it on Twitter. And
Good for Drea.
They like surprised her. She was like on a like Zoom call or something with the producers or something. It was like, and now we have Sia. And Drea like broke down. They showed the preview for season 43.
Yeah.
And when I tell you the amount of times my jaw was dropping just from the cast we are going to have in the fall is pretty wild.
Excited. Survivor's, like, I think re-injected a little bit of, I'm not sure I still totally how I feel about the 26 days. Overall,
I hated how much Jeff was hyping up the do or die.
Yeah, like, the do or die is the only thing that I absolutely do not ever want to see back in the game. I hate that.
And I feel like that's the consensus on, like, Survivor Twitter.
Absolute worst. I didn't really care for the hourglass twist. Those are the only two things that I hated. Like, that I was like, do or die, absolutely never back. Hourglass, I don't know. It's not that interesting.
Don't bring it back every season, maybe.
It's such an obvious choice is the problem. Like, no one's going to choose to not be immune. Sorry. Like, you could tell them that breaking the glass is going to do any number of things, but that they're also immune, they're probably breaking it because that's just so important. But, I think for all the, negativity about the twists,
for the most part,
they didn't really, a lot of times they never even panned out.
No.
For the very first time, we finally saw an extra vote actually used properly. I don't like the idols having to do, like, the say at the challenge, I'm drinking whatever. I don't mind it being a risk to get an idol. I like that addition of, like, you don't just find an idol down there. You go, like, you have to kind of work for it.
Incorporate more of, like, oh, you got to go to the other tribe's beach
or
type thing.
While at the challenge, you have to find the thing hidden under whatever.
Or like how they did with Drea, like she had to reach into the paint and like her arm was red. Now you got to...
Perfect. Like, that's the way it should be, where it's like, you do put yourself at risk in some way, but not... Because then everyone knows. Literally everyone knows you have an idol now, and that's just not fun.
I liked more tree mail on screen this season.
Getting a tree mail readout was a blast from the past.
But I don't know if you saw the trailer for season 43. I'm pretty sure it's the very first castaway with a prosthetic leg.
No. There was a contestant on Vanuatu, I believe, that had a prosthetic leg. I'm pretty certain it was Vanuatu. That was one of the guys versus girls seasons. Okay. I'm pretty sure that a contestant on there had a prosthetic leg. That's cool.
And then another former gang member, as we had in season 41. Gang member turned pastor, obviously, with Shan. But again, cast looks wild. And like some of the cast members, like when you see like what their careers are, it doesn't match up with their face at all.
Chad Crittenden had the distinction of being the show's first amputee contestant.
I forget if
That season was wild.
I don't know if the one this year is season 43 might be the first female.
Yeah, outside of Chad, I can't remember.
Yeah, I can't remember any, but
not any that came to mind. I just remember because it was a big deal, and I just read it in the wiki too. I remember it being a big deal that people thought that he'd be hard to beat because he would have this like story. It's kind of messed up. It's like kind of a messed up thing to say, I guess, but it is what it is. It's like I don't want to play with this guy. He might win. It's kind of backwards. That was a wild season because at the end, it was like I think the women just totally outran the men. I mean, they just figured it out. They had like a great voting block. I want to say it was down to like 6 women versus 1 man, and the guy ended up winning. I can't remember his name, unfortunately, off the top of my head, but he like somehow navigated that like the final like 5 or 6 votes, being the only dude left, and was able to like move people, and some of the girls started like turning on each other and going after one another to try and move forward. But Vanuatu was a wild season. I wonder if they do like battle the sexes again.
That or like I didn't hate Blood versus Water either.
Me either. It was Chris. Chris
that.
won Vanuatu. Yeah, I didn't hate Blood vs. Water either. But like I don't know that they're gonna go back to like the themes either.
Yeah.
I think they're kinda happy doing the just generic bunch of random people. Maybe
She's a Paralympian.
That's sick. Yeah, I think just keeping it generic, at least for a few seasons. I wonder, probably not 44, but I would say 45. Or I would be shocked if we don't get like a recast season. If we don't get like, and it's 45 too. They like the solid numbers. If it's like a fans versus favorites type of deal or something, or like a second chance would be really cool. Like and it's enough time has passed too that you have enough people to like pick from, or it's like you'd like to see them play again.
And it would be cool to incorporate, if it is 45, like 4 seasons of this new like turbo style of Survivor, and then some of the former castaways that did the 39 days, and now they have to acclimate to that.
I saw Vizepia's Instagram post. She wants to play again. She was upset. And I didn't realize she didn't get called for Winners of War, which sucked. She was a great winner. She like way ahead of her time too.
Yes.
In terms of like social play, like an underrated win, I would say.
Who do you think from this season would be on a second chance?
Oh, man, that's a tough call.
I think Jonathan.
I think people really. I think like the generic
Lindsay
person really loves Jonathan. Like it's usually like the bigger boulder.
It was very interesting during the reunion too. They talked about Lindsay was supposed to be on season 41.
Really?
But she tested positive for COVID.
That sucks.
And
that sucks.
She was talking to Jeff about stuff, and like she was like, "All right, I'm gonna do whatever it takes, to be back." And Jeff was like saying, "Yeah, for like season 43 or whatever." She's like, "No, next season I'll be there." So yeah, she was supposed to be on 41, but she made it for 42. I think she would be back. I think Drea would be.
Drea, I think, would be up there. You can name them all. And if like anyone, especially like post merge, would be like, yeah, probably.
Like the entire jury almost.
Like I wouldn't mind seeing them play again. I'm trying to look pre-jury. Daniel, maybe. I could see people want Daniel back. People might want Jackson back too. People really liked Jenny.
Yeah.
People were upset Jenny got off
the short
early.
end of the stick.
And sometimes it's those type of people. Like I can remember Kelly Wentworth. So I had started watching Survivor in her 3rd season was Edge of Extinction, right? So I knew that she was like a big deal. Like I knew like she clearly was like enough of a fan favorite to be like on. And then I watched her Blood vs. Water season. I was like, I'm not seeing it. Like she didn't do anything amazing, but then in Cambodia, she is like one of the best Survivor plays ever. and it was like a much more interesting player. Like, okay, now I understand. But like sometimes it's not the person that's like amazing. You know, sometimes they're just like people like them, and it might have gotten voted out like 4th, and people still want to just watch them play again.
Where it's like they didn't get enough from them.
Right. They'd like to see more. I'd like to see that. Give us
You could arguably say like the entire post-merge cast.
anyway, like pick anyone from there, and I don't think I'd be disappointed
like
at seeing them play again. Which is
Omer, 100%.
Same for last season too, though.
Yeah.
You know, last season, pick anyone from that post-merge. Absolutely.
High would be great.
I think
again.
who was the guy, even pre-merge, the one with the broccoli?
Brad.
Brad. Bring Brad back. I'd watch that. Kidding me?
Go back to my farm. We're 2 for 2, Matt, since we started talking Survivor in season of getting top 2 finish.
Listen, like I said,
Sean and Mike.
listen, if you are a firefighter from the Northeast and you are on Survivor, I'm picking you. I'm picking you. I'm riding you all the way.
Do we way too early predict now that Survivor
if there's a girl
43?
from New Jersey or a firefighter from
There
the
are
Northeast, those
2 from Philly.
Uh-oh.
There are no. I was looking after they revealed everything.
The Jervis gene.
The Wendell
The
gene.
Jervis gene of not being aware that you're being just picked off one by one.
So this is the cast. Jay Jones is from Philly.
Okay.
And then Mariah Young is from Philly. And then there's somebody from like right outside of Philadelphia too, Downingtown, Lindsay. The way too early. This is not even close to our prediction, but we're just glossing over this cast.
Two people from Hawaii this season? That's interesting.
Yeah.
Like, that's always a bit.
This was the Mike Gabler does not look like a heart valve specialist whatsoever.
Mike Gabler, not sure. Not my pick. Not my pick. Oh man, it's tough.
We have another student this year too.
Yeah, they love. There's definitely a theme with kind of how they're approaching this now. It's tough.
It's tough.
I will wait till it's on the Survivor. Tell you what, I like Cody Smile.
Yes.
I like Jay Smile. And you know what, Jay, I think it's just that nice picture. Jay's got a nice smile, comforting, looks like a funny guy. I'll roll with Jay.
Jay, if you want to come on podcast.
Unofficially, I will roll with Jay. You know, again, that's no disrespect.
This is off season.
But I'm just saying, you know, like that is my unofficial pick. Not locked into that yet.
Because you and I are pretty lockstep with.
I would say we have a similar vibe,
thinking,
and feeling towards looking at some headshots and deciding who we think might make it far in a game that, frankly, is not even totally skill. Is oftentimes reliant on luck.
Yeah.
Things out of that person's control. But you know what? Make it work.
So we're in the off season now. But if you guys want more Survivor content, tweet at us at UndergroundPHI, Twitter, Instagram. Comment on the YouTube comment section. Leave it in the Apple Podcast reviews. We'll see what we can cook up. And of course, make sure you guys are following us, like I said, at UndergroundPHI, Twitter, Instagram. Follow Matt on Twitter at Matt Castorina. Follow me at KBIZZL311. Check out the website, undergroundsportsphiladelphia.com, for all of our written content. Stephen McAvoy's got a blog going up about the PGA Tour equivalent of what the Soccer Super League was going to be, Matt. It is official.
The Saudi Arabian league or something,
yeah,
right?
It's like the LIV or something like that, where apparently Dustin Johnson is going to play. So that'll be up very soon. Of course, subscribe to the podcast feed, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts, we are there. And subscribe to the Underground Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel. Leave hit the like button, click the bell icon, comment down below. so you don't miss a single second of your favorite Underground Sports Philadelphia shows. Big thank you to our sponsors, Main Auto LLC, Ducharme's Pro Foot, Security 21 Security Systems, Paul J. Gillespie Incorporated, Mark Ronchetti CPA LLC, and the Dental Wellness Center of Vineland. Tomahawk Shades, go to tomahawkshades.com, use promo code USP for 25% off your order at tomahawkshades.com. Kenwood Beer, go to kenwoodbeer.com and use the Kenny tracker to see who's got Kenwood Beer on tap in the Philadelphia area. You got to be 21 or older to do so. And, of course, please drink responsibly. This has been episode number 434 of Underground Sports Philadelphia. For Matt, I'm KB. Until next time, we're getting the hell out of here. Peace.